Well, this has been a fascinating introduction for me because everything that you folks are talking about is exactly what we cover in our homework series. Remaining focused, managing life and work balance, teaming, collaborating, communicating in this new environment, pressure, stress on sales or other aspects of the company. So what you're going to see today is actually going behind the scenes of a fictional company and a team that has been plunged into the new environment, as we all were at the onset of the pandemic, and then make decisions for some of those characters. I think you'll recognize some of the issues that they're dealing with. And we're going to begin with, of course, that all-encompassing Zoom meeting that so many of us spend hours a day now on because we cannot meet in person, either internally or externally. So we're going to open with a Zoom meeting, and Brittany, if you can run that video, that would be great.
Okay, thanks everyone for tuning into our first leader meeting on Zoom. So Tom, you want to take the lead? Tom, can you hear me? You had all those points on how we can all adapt to change.
Unmute Tom.
Okay, Tom must, we'll circle back to Tom. Let's just get a status from everyone, starting with HR. Amanda?
No significant HR changes. The only difference is where we are since everyone's now remote.
No different?
Nope. It's a new workspace. This is the office, so otherwise no different.
Okay, thanks for that. Co-development and vendors. Julie, how are the partners holding up?
We're like sharks. We stop swimming, we die. Our partners, vendors, they're on it. Nobody's pulling excuses.
So you're saying partners and vendors are on schedule?
Yeah, vendors, partners, they're delivering, they're pushing on. We're not letting anyone slide.
Okay, content creation, Chaz?
On hold.
What?
Yeah, we're on hold. Everything is disrupted right now. No filming new work.
Okay, well, let's plan in the meantime.
Oh, we can't even plan to plan.
Yes, we can plan.
There is no planning. Force majeure.
We can plan.
Force majeure.
Stop saying force majeure. That doesn't mean anything. We can plan.
Yeah, no, it's something you can check out.
Is that a toilet flush?
Yeah, that's on Netflix. I saw that.
I didn't hear anything.
Mute, people, just mute.
Janae, I love what you've been doing with your hair.
HR?
Yeah. Just as a reminder, although we are all remoting now, we are still in the workplace technically, so let's be aware of how our words might make other people feel. Compliments, though well-intentioned, may not be perceived quite the way that we intend. This is the professional workspace. Let's act like it.
Okay, let's move forward. Accounting and cash flow. Marty?
Cash flow. I mean, there is no cash flow. We're completely doomed. We're like 2 weeks away from having no money in payroll at all.
Okay, I'm going to just mute accounting. There we go. It's fine. It's not. Okay, thank God. Ryan, you are up. Can you cheer us up? Talk to us about sales, please.
You're on mute, Ryan.
Unmute, Ryan.
Here, buddy.
Hit the unmute button.
Singing musical themes.
Unmute. Anyway, the gift is in all of us. We just have to access it.
Okay, so that means you're selling something.
Better than ever.
Okay, maybe you and I will just follow up individually after this. And that brings us to the headquarters perspective. So Christine, what's the word from corporate?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, we can hear you. Yep.
This is a crisis. It's not a joke, and I'm talking especially to you.
Me?
Who? No. You.
Who's you?
I can see you hear me, and then act like you don't know who I'm pointing
Christine, FYI, we can't actually tell when you're pointing on Zoom who you're pointing to.
You!
Who do you think you are making eye contact with?
Okay, Zoom sucks. It should know who I'm pointing at. Let me just conclude by stating the obvious. It's not about the heat, it's about the humidity. And what that means is upskilling, mind setting, and super scheduling, especially from you. It's what corporate wants and what corporate expects.
Thank you, Christine. We really needed to.
I wanted to say it, but
no, we recognize, empathize with the corporate perspective. Okay. Any last words, Tom? Okay. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Zoom. You should all log off now. Now, you go ahead and just log off.
Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
A cell phone call? That's very retro.
Hey, I created that Zoom meeting thingy like you told me to. When do the people show up on the thingy?
All right. Possibly some of that looked somewhat familiar, maybe not precisely what you've encountered, but I hope you got some nice chuckles. So remote work, resilience. Remote work is actually not brand new by any means. We were doing some remote work, many of us, before COVID-19 hit. If we look at the pre-COVID world, we'll see that in the last 12 years, according to at least one study, the growth in remote work was 159%. If you look at the last 5 years, 44%. So certainly, and I know that some of the participants in this meeting mentioned that you were working remotely before and it may not have had a huge change for you, although the circumstances in which people find themselves now as they are doing their remote work may be somewhat different. If we look at post-COVID, certainly it's going to have an impact, and Ron mentioned this in his remarks earlier too. We don't know exactly what it will look like. Right now, up to 50% of workers in the United States who can work remotely are working remotely. Many business owners say that even after their office reopens, they will let some or all of their employees continue remoting. In some ways, productivity has been maintained or even enhanced. In other ways, there have been challenges. And again, the reference to HR, there's just no playbook right now. Folks are doing the best they can to figure it out day by day, week by week, as the circumstances change. I think the one thing that we can all agree on is that however this shakes out, and I believe it will be a continuing evolution for some period of time, that strong culture will win the day, that it's about treating people well, maintaining balance, and finding innovative ways to cope with a very challenging environment. Now, the particular issues that people are struggling with, and again, it was fascinating to me from the surveys that were submitted, that it was very much in line with the research that we had done and continue to do as we release future seasons of homework. We've released season 1 and 2. Season 3 is about to be released. Where are the challenges? Certainly communication and collaboration. We just don't have the proverbial water cooler conversations right now, or the coffee machine, or wherever it is we gather in the hallway. The idea of a meeting, and how often were we accustomed to just catching someone at the closure of a meeting and say, hey, can I just talk with you for an extra 5 minutes, and resolving something very quickly. We can't really do that now, although we have found ways of some of us staying on a Zoom meeting to have those much smaller group or even one-on-one conversations. Loneliness is an interesting one, and home distractions seems to be the reverse. So folks who may be in a very small space, living alone, feeling very isolated. Another challenge, folks with small children who are not in school right now or cannot attend their daycare. Maybe a spouse also working at home. All of these things are going on simultaneously, and everybody's trying to figure it all out. The homeschooling, maybe there's an elderly parent in the household, and that person no longer has the care system that he or she had. And then right there in the center is the work-life balance that several of you mentioned earlier, and we're going to take a look at that in a little bit more detail in just a minute. But what I think we can say is that wherever a person is in the corporate structure, whether it's an entry-level individual contributor or senior executive with tremendous responsibilities and a large team, everybody is facing some challenges and certainly dealing with a different reality. So now is the fun part. Let's visit a couple of those characters that you met in that opening Zoom video and make some choices for them. We're going to transition now into an episode which involves Marty. Basic resilience here. Marty is having a difficult time. He's quite stressed, and he's going to interact with Laura, the manager in this fictional company. Let's take a look at what's going on in his world.
This is you, Laura.
Accounting and cash flow, Marty.
Oh, well, cash flow. There is no cash flow.
And you detected right away that Marty wasn't being himself. He's not responding to the change well at all. The next day, you decide to deal with Marty, but you're kind of a rookie when it comes to dealing with employee resilience.
Hey, Marty.
Hey.
How are things?
Not good. We're sinking like a ship.
You mean cash flow?
Yeah. We're hemorrhaging. I mean, I don't know what other metaphor can I come up with.
Now, there are several things that Laura could do. She could shut this down and order him to think positive, point out some ways he's wrong by sharing other information, allow him to vent, which can be helpful in certain circumstances, steer the conversation to his personal life. Maybe there's something going on at home, or invest some time, which she really doesn't have because she's struggling a little bit too, to help him do his job. Now, when you would be playing the program, you would have the option to choose any of these and go back and see the others. But in the interest of time this morning, we're going to choose the last one and invest some time to help Marty out.
Hey, I want you to shift gears. Yeah, I need you to kind of drop what you've been doing and think through some things for me. Like a special project to drop everything and pivot for me type of thing.
I mean, sure, there's not really much for me to drop right now, so.
I'm sure you've been thinking of some workarounds, but maybe we could brainstorm things together and then you could work on your own to kind of get us beyond the equation and get to how we find money.
I mean, I've already thought through things, Laura.
Let's just start the brainstorming, see if we get anywhere. And just don't shoot down all the most silly ideas. So first, what if we ask HQ for some special funding something? If we put together the argument that we have strategic value, right? Like they can't let our office fail without it leaving a mark. So what's our number for how long?
Well, they're in a hole too.
Well, okay. But if we all have to dig out together, what's our numbers on that? And can't we make that argument? You know, it's like our strategic ROI.
You know, there is an infrastructure bucket up at HQ. I mean, they want to build like this new office in Orlando. I mean, it's someone's pet project, but I mean, I know a guy up at HQ that, I mean, I don't want to get all Machiavellian and triangulate, but if I push some buttons through my channels and well, you and Tom push through some buttons on yours, then I mean, I think there's money to be found if we handle it delicately.
And you not only got him thinking positively, you empowered him to seek professional solutions. And then...
And next, Marty, how is cash flow?
Yeah, so, sorry. Last week I was feeling pretty dire and, well, you know, apologies. Anyway, cash flow, revenues, etc. aren't normal, but there's a lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes to keep us totally stable while it's all sorted out. We'll be playing catch up till the tail end of the year, but I know us. It's not a mountain that we haven't climbed 10 times before, so we're good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good.
And as I said, there would be an opportunity here to try another path, choose one of the other options. And we're going to play another episode, again, in the interest of time. But if anybody's interested in taking a look at this and trying out other options and seeing other episodes, just let us know.
And that brings us...
Yes, so now we're going to move on to a different character, to Christine, who we met earlier as well. And Christine is at a very high level in the organization and has a lot of responsibilities, a lot of pressures on her. And let's see what's going on with Christine. Okay, Brittany, thank you.
To the headquarters perspective. So Christine, what's the word from corporate?
This is a crisis. It's not a joke, and I'm talking especially to you.
Me?
Who? No. You.
Customers have cut discretionary spending and our production challenges have reduced new offerings. It's like a perfect storm.
Can everyone hear me? We have a sales problem, Ryan. Fix it.
We're trying to, but I need you to be aware of the fact that there's...
I am making eye contact and asserting authority. Don't give us more of your excuses. Give us more sales. Now. That's all we care about. Period. Going on mute.
This is you, Christine. You manage 3 regional offices for company headquarters. It's been a lot to handle and only getting harder.
He can't just jumpstart sales, though. You know, no one's buying anything right now.
He has to do something or Christine's going to go nuts on him.
I don't know. It's getting kind of harsh around here.
Yeah, I mean, I expected setbacks, but I mean, not HQ treating us like this.
She's not really acting like herself.
You think she was rehearsing for firing him?
I mean, I don't think so.
Hey.
Hey, so...
Yeah.
Christine?
You should talk to her.
I should talk to her.
Yeah, you're a woman. You'll connect better.
Oh, come on. That's so sexist.
That's realistic.
That's Gen X.
That's ageist.
That's defensive.
That's safeguarding my objectivity.
That's so...
That's why you should do the calling. Look, I'll follow up. I'll have a more ROI-focused conversation.
Triangulating her like this is a little bit conspiratorial, no?
It's not a conspiracy. It's managing up.
Oh, okay.
All right. Tom out.
All right, see ya.
So that's it for the second quarter report?
Yep, but...
Okay, I need to move on.
Well, if you have a moment.
Just one? What?
How are you?
I'm confused.
How are you holding up?
Are you serious?
Well, you obviously have a lot on your plate. You seem, challenged by working from home like this.
Laura means well, But you know she wouldn't be getting into this if there wasn't an objective behind it.
Let's talk with her and let her in to the conversation.
Christine.
I'd always dreamed of being able to spend so much time with Rosie. Learning that I'd be working from home was one of the happiest days of my life.
Christine?
It's horrible.
It's okay.
Feeding, changing, crying, needing, and the office is constantly Zooming me with crisis calls, and there's work I can't even get to, even when I stay up until the midnight feeding, and then she sleeps until 7, and that's my entire allotment of rest time because nap time is when I catch up.
Your husband is a doctor?
And yeah, Mark is gone for 12-hour shifts 6 days a week, and he comes home despondent and communicative. Not that I want to talk. This is just not what I envisioned.
So, to summarize what I think I hear you saying...
No, the summary. It sucks. Life sucks. It's Groundhog Day, the motherhood episode where Andy McDowell is subjected to sleep deprivation by a newborn as people yell at her to do the impossible as she leaks through her shirt.
I was going to say, I hear you saying that no one else in your life is looking out for you.
Let's keep sharing.
So you keep sharing. It actually feels good to talk about what a train wreck your life is, and after 5 or 10 minutes, something happens.
Okay, I know this sounds like a little PC-ness, but Mark needs to step up at home or cut back at work.
I appreciate your little PC-ness.
What?
I appreciate your little PC-ness.
Hey, don't call my PC-ness little.
Oh, God. It's been a couple weeks since I laughed. All those cliches about, take me time or treat yourself to breaks, they don't apply when me time isn't really an option. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, we all have our difficulties. I mean, not yours, but everyone has something. I know you can't be this Christine with everyone, but maybe just a little. We can, in small ways, lean on each other sometimes.
Okay, we'll stop there. Again, in the interest of time, I hope you got some chuckles, and I hope that you saw some things that resonated. I said we saw part of 2 episodes out of the whole miniseries in season 1 and 2. Season 3 about to launch shortly. And I think this is going to also be an evolution. We're not going to get to an end point at any time that any of us can pinpoint. So really it's an ongoing conversation. And as we work with leading organizations in all sectors around the country, we are hearing all kinds of stories, from virtual terminations to performance issues, to difficult conversations that would normally have been over a cup of coffee. And now they have to be done virtually. So consistent with everything that we do, we are constantly keeping our antenna up. If you have stories to share or ideas for future episodes or questions, we're happy to have those discussions and share our research. We have developed many, many, many of these simulations, all, as I said earlier, around issues of national concern. This is a very interesting time, in quotations. And for us, and one of, I'm sorry, I don't recall, the gentleman mentioned at the opening about games and different forms of simulations. We've actually had folks come to us with training needs and say, can we use the homework format to develop interactive training content using the storytelling, using the video, but with the constraints of the current environment, put our content with you into the homework format. And that is certainly something that we expect to do with a couple of different organizations soon. And if that's something that anyone's interested in discussing, we'd love to have those conversations as well.